proceed, yes.
What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
This doesn't make any sense.
Not everything does. Not everything has to.
Welcome to the end of your life, and I promise it's going to hurt.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
What's going on, baby? It is the Midwest Anime Show. It's your boy DOC in the building today, baby. I hope you guys are enjoying your Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I got my panel with me, Cool Bear, aka Christopher Robbins. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to you, Sugarfoot. Then we got Mr. Conspiracy in his bathrobe yet again. You know what I'm saying? He doing it big at home. He just missing his tinfoil hat. So, hey, put a one up in the chat if you want him to put his tinfoil hat on. Put a one up in the chat, man. And then we got the professor there, you know what I'm saying? Looking highly intelligent, gonna give us some great commentary. So, we got to get into this, baby, because we're doing one of the big three. If you're an anime lover, you probably heard the name, Naruto. But this is part one for us. Naruto's a big, big series. So we're going to start off at the beginning. So we're not touching Shippuden. We are just talking about them as children. All right. So that's where we are. I am going to throw this to Mr. Conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and let him start us off. You in the bathrobe. You look comfortable. So you get to go first, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so let's roll with this. You know what I'm saying? Make me want to go put an outfit on or something.
Alrighty, so Naruto in the Naruto universe. Okay, so Naruto is an excellent anime for me. It's not super old like Dragon Ball Z and a few of the other ones, but I still think that it's up there with them as far as where I rank it. It's a phenomenal story. Fun fact, I didn't even like Naruto when it first came out. I didn't even want to watch it. The only reason why that I actually started watching it is because of one of my older brothers. He was watching it, and I was like, dude, that looks so stupid. And he was like, oh, no, man, that's pretty good. So I was like, okay, cool. So I gave it a chance here and there because I was feeling like, for some strange reason, why are they in sandals? Like, I can't get past ninjas being in sandals. I couldn't take them seriously at first. Because I was like, does everybody wear sandals? This doesn't seem right. They're supposed to be ninjas, right? So it took me a while to actually get into it. So when I got into it, I really thought that it was a phenomenal story being told when you're talking about the first part of Naruto. So for the people who've never seen it, which if you're watching this channel, you should have definitely have heard of Naruto at least. He is I guess you want to call him an orphan or an abandoned child in the Hidden Leaf Village. He is what they call a Chichiriki. In this world, they have what they call tailed beasts. There are nine-tailed beasts. They are basically special mystical monsters is what you really want to call them. And they each have a tail. So it goes from a one tail all the way up to a nine tails. Depending on what tail that beast has will determine the actual power level that they have. So if you, of course, have a Cherokee that has the nine-tailed beast, then you have the strongest nine-tailed beast. And this just so happens that Naruto, people thought that he was actually born with the nine-tailed beast within him. So because of that, he was looked down on in the village as a monster, as someone who should not be talked to, is just thrown to the wayside. No one even knew who his parents were. He has a crazy backstory. So long story short, he was hated by the village people. Only person who actually liked him was the third Hokage, who was basically what you would call the president or like the emperor of their village. What's going on, DLC?
I think we got to give some context to a lot of this because we on the assumption that people know what Naruto is, they don't know what Hokages are. I know you just explained that, or even what the hidden village in the Leafs is, you know what I'm saying? So I think we have to do a little bit more of an introduction for folks on this show because if you've never seen it, these terms don't mean anything to you. So I just wanted to throw that out there while you explaining this. You may want to go a little detail on some of this stuff because they may not know what you're talking about. That's not Gen Cherokee. I know you explained it, but Hokage and all that stuff. We might have to give a little context on that, Mr. Conspiracy. That's all.
Oh man, my bad, man. I thought that was your job. You the host. But anyway, so let me go ahead and go back to my deal. What I was saying before DOC. Hey, I'm doing my job, brother. I'm doing my job, man. Okay, but you picked me. I'm doing my job right now. Okay. So in this ninja world, they have what they call a ninjutsu, and with their abilities, they're able to use all of the elements. Certain ninjas can use certain elements, and certain ninjas that can use a certain amount of elements, they would have a special ability called the Gekkei Genkai. I'll leave that for a later introduction. And so with the villages around, you can basically just call them separate countries, right? You have the Hidden Leaf, and then there's certain, I guess you can call them towns or cities within the actual Hidden Leaf country. And then you have the Rainstone Village. There's a whole bunch of other countries that basically border each other, and they all are at war. And the main, not pillars, but the main authority are the feudal lords. So it's around like the feudal lord era is basically what the whole environment is actually set around. And the ninjutsu that they use is based on chakra. So if you've seen Dragon Ball Z, how they use ki blast and energy beams, well, in Naruto with ninjutsu, they use chakra. And chakra within the body, you can think of them as special storage containers at the acupuncture points in your body. Think of it like that. So it's not like they become like super beings like like in other anime. So it's really a story on the fact of using ninjutsu, and these villages basically have a huge bloody history when it comes to rivalries and going to war. And at this point, when Naruto actually starts, they've already had 3 great ninja wars. So when you actually start the show, they've already had 3 great ninja wars. You have to keep on watching it just to actually see the actual past of what actually happened in the other ninja wars when they do flashbacks. And so for me, Naruto is actually pretty interesting. I don't think any other anime that I have seen thus far actually takes it the way that they take ninjutsu and the feudal lord era, the way that they do. And when it comes to Jinchuriki, it's basically not I'm trying to think of the word, not a possession, but they're basically just a holder of a tailed beast, right? And most countries actually have a Jinchuriki. Not all, but most do. And so for me, Naruto is really good story. I like the animation of it. As far as characters, they have a lot of characters that they do a lot of good development on early on in the story. As far as Naruto Part 1, I really like how they do it, and I think that's what actually makes people fall in love with Naruto from the beginning. Now as far as, in later seasons or later arcs, things like that, it's a little bit different. But for this, I would say if you want to start Naruto, when you start the beginning, I think that you would really enjoy it, and I definitely enjoy it, and it's definitely in my top 10 without a doubt of all time.
All right, Mr. Conspiracy, we'll let that roll. All right, I'm gonna flip this up, Professor. You know what I'm saying? You over here nodding your head, you ready to jump in this. So go ahead, man. Tell us about Naruto for you, man.
Intelligent time.
Yeah, man, it was a good summation, James, about Naruto. Well said. I think when Naruto first came out, I can't even remember how I got into it. I don't know if it was my brother. I don't know if it was my friend that got me into it, but started watching it. I really enjoyed the beginning of it and the story. He was an outcast, the Hokage, the president, just kind of took him under his wing. He was, like a grandfather to him. And they just kind of unveiled, what was going on, why the villagers felt the way they felt about him. His goal was to become a Hokage. He was going to be, he's kind of one of those characters. He's going to be the greatest, the best, kind of kin to, Black Clover, kind of had, kind of that hero. It first came out, it probably was in my top 10 when it first came out, but as time goes on, it didn't really age well for me. I didn't stick with the story as long as, most people did, as the fans did, but I thought initially it was a good story, and then just kind of got, I don't know if it's filler material, but it just kind of lost me as they kind of went further into kind of the backstory. But initially when it first came out, it was definitely a great anime. Definitely enjoyed watching it. It just didn't age well for me, for whatever reason. I don't know if it was too many episodes, my attention span too short concerning everything, but it just didn't hold me. But it's definitely worth a watch. It's earned its place, as far as people's top 10s, animes, things like that. Just not for me. But it's definitely, a good story. That's all I got to say about it.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? All right. Well, we got to move on to the most unique person on this panel, Christopher Robbins. What do you have to say about Naruto?
Oh man, I'm gonna agree with Conspiracy and the Professor. I do know when I started watching it, Doc was actually one person that got me on to watching Naruto. I think, what was I watching? I forget. He's like, man, you watch Naruto? I'm like, that sounds like ramen. What the hell is Naruto? And he's like, it's about this little ninja boy, and he got this big old shuriken he throws. And I'm like, oh, he throws up gang signs so he can do superpowers. I'm like, gang signs? Superpowers? But then I was like, well, let me check it out. And sure enough, He throw up gang signs. He does superpowers. It was wrong. He got sandals. I didn't understand the women with the heel sandals. That was weird. How can you get around? But anyway. But yeah, Naruto. Again, I'm going to agree with Professor. It did not age well. However, it is going to be in one of my legendary tops though, because it did set the precedent for me watching anime. Again, I'll agree. Just like Dragon Ball, One Piece, all the filler arcs, it can get a little redundant. But if you start off watching Dragon Ball, you kind of got used to that. Some things you still like, I can skip this. But just like a good shonen, a jump show, they do set up the protagonist very well. He's this loner kid. He gets picked on because he gets treated almost like an outsider, even though he's part of the village because he doesn't have any parents. People find him obnoxious, but he's at the bottom. He's at the lowest he can go, and as a kid, and nobody's caring for him. But he has this big dream. I'm going to become the top ninja in my village. I want to be the Hokage. He sets his heights high. And just like any other like One Piece, everybody who knows Luffy, he started off low. He wants to be king of the pirates. A Dragon Ball Z, Goku, he's this, little guy, and he wants to be the strongest fighter in the world. But they set up the protagonist stories really well. So you fall in love with him. So you find yourself rooting for Naruto. Oh man, yeah, I want you to become a Hokage. Kick everybody's butts, Like I said, I can't. I tried to go back and rewatch it. I just couldn't. I did stick with it though, all the way up to Boruto. I couldn't finish Boruto.
We don't talk about that sin on this show. We don't talk
We
about
don't
this
talk
sin
about
on this show.
Boruto. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about
Yeah,
Bruno.
yeah, we don't talk about burrito on this show, dog. So you go ahead and bypass that.
I'm just saying, like I followed it for to most of its length. It was definitely something new. You got these ninjas doing hand signs. I mean, it's a rich story though. If you actually look at it, just not for the fight. It was a lot of story, and like Conspiracy said, the character development. They have a ton of characters, but they took time to flush them out. They might not do it right away, but they always go back to tell stories. And I think that's what the fillers they use the fillers right to go back and like if there was mystery stuff to tell those stories and you kind of to tie in to the main story. You you didn't guess a whole lot. A lot of things were answered in the show. Yeah, Naruto's gonna hold a special place in my heart. Yeah, Doc?
Well, I can definitely say this. Naruto is the character design for everybody who's a loud-headed, knucklehead character because he's the one who started that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is based on this loud, ignorant dude. The number one knucklehead, is what he's known as. So what I would say about Naruto, the beginning of Naruto is very silly. When I was younger, I could rock with it, but as I've grown up, the very beginning of the story is kind of hard for me to go back and be like, oh yeah, because it's really silly. Now, does it have some adult themes around it? Sure. I think what made the story interesting to me was the community they built, like with the whole universe that they built out. Because like Hokage, we like, what does that mean? That literally means fire shadow. You have the Kazekage, which is the wind shadow. You got the Mizukage, which is the water shadow. You got the Raikage, which is the lightning shadow, and the Tsukage, which is the earth shadow. Literally, the Hokage, like you said, are presidents. They use chakra instead of magic and mana. It's chakra, and everybody has different abilities. I think what I can really dig on the story is I get why Naruto is the way Naruto is because of his backstory, and I think he's probably him and Sasuke to me have a very interesting backstory. They're stories. Like I don't necessarily care for them when they're kids. Part 2, it gets a little bit more adult, but the reason a lot of the way they act and the rivalry and stuff like that is a lot of their backstory. And you don't really get to see their backstory. You hear about it, but you really don't see it until Shippuden. And so for me, like the storytelling is really good in Naruto. I'll give you that. I can't stand Naruto sometimes because he's like Asta. He's just loud for no reason. But the dude, one thing about him is he never quits. And I think that if you're any kid or somebody who looks at this, like the dude just never stops. Like he doesn't care what comes on. He's got his dream. He holds on to his dream and he gonna chase his dream down no matter what. So like I said, if you're getting into anime, I think it's a good show. I think the backstories are well written. I think there's a lot you can get from Naruto. I mean, there's some great storylines out of Naruto that I'd be like, there's some interesting characters. And I think the next question I'm gonna have for the group, really I'm gonna ask you who your favorite character is. I think, that gets to be a very interesting conversation. So I'm gonna flip this up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the professor with who is his favorite character. You know what I'm saying? And why. Not only who they are, but why they're your favorite character. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit you, Professor. What you got?
And my favorite character, it probably was Naruto, like Pooh Bear said, or maybe you said it, that he was kind of the beginning of that character that just won't give up, like Asta from Black Clover. I just liked his tenacity, never gave it up. He was silly, but he wasn't stupid. He knew what his goals, his dreams were. He wanted to protect his village. He felt like the village was his family, even though they didn't really care for him. Even though he was kind of a little bit of an outcast, he still viewed them as his family. So his heart, his tenacity, him wanting to be the best, which drove him, and it drove him to be great. Even as a kid, it drove him to be great. It drove him not to give up. It drove him to fight through and to find a way to win. And so I really liked his character. The more they got into his backstory and just how he viewed the village as a family. He never fought, I wouldn't say he was naive, but he was optimistic and hopeful. And so he was, when you think about, he's not Superman, but when you think about that symbol that Superman, that symbol that he portrays as, as a hero, as hope. Yeah, I think Naruto, he kind of embodied that. Even though some people didn't see him as that, I felt like he had those characteristics inside of him for the show. So that was why he was my favorite character.
Okay. Hoover, what about you? Who's your favorite character in life?
Man, it's been a while since I watched about, so I don't remember everybody's names. No, Kakashi Sensei. Man, he was
the copy ninja. The copy ninja.
I love complicated characters, and boy, was he a complicated character. The mystery behind him. Kakashi, man, what can I say about him? What made him my favorite character? This is a fact, like the dude, he was so cool. He was laid back, but when it was time, you know what I'm saying, to put up knuckles, he was your guy. He was your go-to. He put your hands on. He wasn't scared of nothing. He was a thinker. He was a planner. He always had a contingency plan. Even when he knew when to back down. He knew it's like, hey, there's no escape. I'm gonna let everybody else live. I got to do it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question, Pooh Bear. Did you like Kakashi before Obito died or after?
After.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. That's a great question. Oh, man. Nah, I liked him before.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was committed to his ideals.
Yeah, I liked him before, man. He was, before that, yeah. That's the Kakashi I take. But yeah, hands down, he was my favorite.
Mr. Conspiracy, you know what I'm saying? Who you got?
Naruto Part 1, my favorite character is hard. I ain't gonna lie, man, 'cause there's a lot of good ones. I'm gonna have to go with Jiraiya. Because I'm going to have to go with him if we're talking about Naruto Part 1. Because when he came in, he basically showed why he should have at least been a Hokage candidate at some point in his life, right? What really got me is when he was coming to save Naruto from Hitachi, and I forgot the other guy's name who was with him.
The Seven Swordsman, the Mr. The Seven Swordsman, the shark dude. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And so when Itachi saw that it was Jiraiya, he told the other guy that was with him from the Mist Village, he was like, "Hey man, no, we're not dying right here." We said no, we're gonna worry about this later. We can't get him right now if he's around here. And like that just lets you know right then and there, like, but Jiraiya is that dude. I was like, hold on a minute, y'all not going nowhere. And then like he really didn't even try hard to actually catch them, but just the ability that he showed right then, and I was like, oh, that dude cold. And this is what really got me, is when they was looking for, when him and Naruto left the village, they was looking for Tsunade so she could become the next Hokage. And Orochimaru was actually looking for her as what actually heal his arms after his fight with the third Hokage. And he called up to them, and Jiraiya actually saw Orochimaru actually talking to Tsunade, and she thought about agreeing to actually heal his arms. And he said, listen, you either gonna come back with me or I'm gonna kill the both of you. And I was like, hold on, excuse me? I had to rewind that. And he looked at her. He said, you either come back with me or I'm going to kill the both of them. And then he pulled out his summoning jutsu. He had one of the sage toad frogs with him. And it was like, oh, man, like they about to get down. So, like, he just showed so much ability to me with the little bit of screen time that he had. But it was also the actual playful side of him. Like, he was like the great uncle for Naruto. He was Naruto, you know, whenever Naruto got to that age without the tail beast ability, in my opinion. That's when Naruto like almost would have became something like that. I thought that he was just fun. He really gave Naruto like a reason to keep going forward, becoming stronger, you know, someone he can actually count on. And oh my goodness, man, like he had the greatest nickname, man, Pervy Sage. You know, says it all. That says it all for me.
He likes scheming.
I got you. Okay, look, I can rock with one of the signing. You know what I'm saying? I can rock with you like I'm gonna go a little different route, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the dude, you like complicated characters. I'm gonna tell you who I really enjoy because you don't really find out his story till later. Is Itachi. Because Itachi whole character is so complicated, and Itachi, you know, like I love him because initially you think that dude is a bad guy. I mean, he don't care about his brother. I mean, like you said, when Jiraiya meets, he sees him, he sees the dude, and he's like, yo, you know, and I love how he just beat the hell out of Sasuke. Like, you're nothing to me. And you always think that this dude, I mean, he beat that dude to a pulp. Naruto's like, why would you do that to your brother? You're supposed to love him. He's like, man, I don't love this dude. Threw him to a wall, and then he put his Tsukiyomi on him, you know what I'm saying? Put him in that illusion and just messed his mind up. And you're like, golly, this dude hard. But what you find out is, you find out the real truth behind Itachi. Like, not all the lies the village tells. And this is why I like it, because Itachi was given a choice. And Itachi was like a war inside of the village between his clan, you know what I'm saying? The Uchiha clan, you know, would break the village apart. So he made a choice to go murder all of them because they were planning a coup against the Hidden Leaf village. So he went on ahead and killed every member of his clan, his mom, his dad. He put everybody down because he was more concerned about what would happen to the village if the Uchiha tried to do a coup on it. He was like, we just came out of this third war. If you guys attempt a coup, we'll be vulnerable. You know, you're not going to win. It's just going to make us vulnerable. So he took a mission and to basically be disavowed. I mean, he basically did IMF for Mission Impossible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he literally ghosted. I mean, he gave up his identity. He became a rogue shinobi to watch over those who could potentially do harm to the Hidden Leaf village. He gave up all of that. And the only thing he asked was that his brother be spared. And he returned in that episode you're talking about, Mr. Conspiracy with Jiraiya. And he showed up to let them know, like, you better hold your end of the deal because I held mine down. Nothing better not happen to my brother. You know, I held my end of the deal. And I think that's why I really care for Itachi, because Itachi was willing to sacrifice everything he loved to save everybody he loved.
Not women,
and
he
I
did.
think, yeah, I mean, and he literally, like, he is the definition of probably the most selfless character in the Naruto universe. What he was willing to do to save not only the village, but his brother. I thought his character was just intriguing because the more you find out about, you know, the deals he made with Madara Uchiha to be trained so he could. All the stuff he did was for one reason, was for the health of the village. So that's why I say, you know, for me, Itachi is that dude, you know. And let's be clear, he was powerful. He was very powerful, you know. And he was powerful enough to the point where Orochimaru was scared of him. He didn't want no piece of him, you know. And even Jiraiya, you know, as much as Itachi respected Jiraiya knew a fight with Itachi, like, you know, it's like we both would probably die or be seriously injured. He
Life
even
or
knew.
death battle for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why I say, you know, for me, it was Itachi, because the more you find out, the more he goes from villain to like, he's the scapegoat everybody want to blame on, you know, but in reality, he's the real hero of that village that nobody will ever know about, you know. I mean, until, you know, later on in the series. But that's why I say Itachi is my favorite. Hands down, you know, favorite character. So I got to get into the next question then. And then I'm going to hit you, Conspiracy, now. Hey, look, what's your favorite fight scene?
Oh, man. Favorite fight scene?
I already know mine.
Favorite fight scene. Oh, man, that's tough, man. That's It's a lot of fight scenes.
in chapter
That's hard to
in chapter 1. So look, just keep it in chat, keep it in the beginning,
Oh, we
before
gotta do
Shippuden.
beginning.
Yeah,
dang.
you
Yeah.
gotta keep it.
Even then, that's tough,
Mine-
man. Like there's a lot of them I really enjoy, man. Cause like
damn,
you
the first
talking
one.
Gara and Rock Lee in the tournament. Like I love that one. Like that one was a phenomenal fight.
That was a good fight.
Like just for the fact of you saw that Gara is this killing machine that cannot be dealt with, right? Even his siblings, his whole village is afraid of him. His father, everyone's afraid of him because he just kills without remorse, without mercy. He doesn't care. He's a ticking time bomb because he's also a Jinchuriki holder, right? So he's a ticking time bomb. He's from the Sand Village. And my whole situation is this. It's like you have that kind of guy versus a dude who is basically specialized only in taijutsu because he can't use ninjutsu, genjutsu, any other jutsu except for taijutsu. And he's like, listen, I don't care who you are. We gonna bang. I'ma win, and let's do this. And I got the heart of a soldier, and we just gonna have this out actually until I win. And that was when I fell in love with Rock Lee and the potential he had as a character. It was at that fight. He didn't give up. Like I saw technique in that fight, man. Like the techniques and the methods they were using just to battle. I felt like that it truly showed you the all-around abilities of what ninjutsu, taijutsu, that type of situations had to offer in that fight. That didn't feel like a child's fight, in my opinion, especially like at the end when Mike got stepped in, right at the end when Gar was about to kill him in the sand burial, and he just came out of nowhere and was like, "No, I can't let you kill my favorite beloved disciple." Like he almost had a tear come down his cheek to where you knew for a fact if Rock Lee would have died, my guy would have killed Gar. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He would have been dead. But it was just the heart, man. Like there's a lot of fights that I like, but that one I can watch over and over again, and that would never get old because you just truly saw all the abilities that they could truly bring out of one another, and that was not a child's fight, man. Even if they was kids, that wasn't no child's fight. That was nice.
All right, Professor. What was your favorite fight? There's a lot of them. So
honestly, I don't even remember well enough to pick out a favorite fight.
Wow. We got a blue button.
No impact.
We got a blue
No
button.
impact.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do, man. I think we got one. I think we got one somewhere. Hold on,
man.
Professor.
There you go. I vaguely remember that Rock Lee and what.
Hey man,
fight.
somebody cut this dude's camera off. He having technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? We done with you. You know what I'm saying?
You get a 5-minute timeout.
Well, let me move on to somebody who got something to add to the conversation.
I ain't got too much to add here, but that depends. We sticking with the one. Are we doing a part 2 and stuff for shipping later?
We will do one for shipping later. So
I'll
to
save that one
kids.
because that was special to my heart. Yeah. So yeah, not too much because I gotta go with Mr. Conspiracy. It was the Rock Lee fight, man. When he opened up that gate. Oh my God! I was like, oh, this is different. The passion he had. Like, I'm gonna do my sensei prayer. I don't have to have any special techniques. I'm gonna kick your butt off of skill alone. And he was beating his butt. Because you think about it, Gar really is not a fighter. No. It's all the sand. If y'all remember, it was all sand. His manipulation of that power, but he was not a hand-to-hand combatant at all. So he had his number. If it wasn't for the tail beast, he would have destroyed Gara. I believe that. I would have loved, and it kind of made me mad, to be honest with you, because you didn't really get to see him do anything else to showcase really too much in that tournament. I really kind of wanted to see him fight in that tournament. Hell, I wanted to see him fight Neji, to be honest with you. That would have been hot. Yeah. Ever?
No.
And
they never showed it. They didn't show it. Yeah, they didn't show it.
Because that was his rival, was Neji. He wanted to fight Neji, and I wanted to see that fight. I think they missed the opportunity there. They underutilized Rock Lee personally to me. I think they should have utilized him a lot more and showcased him a lot more and gave him more development. But yeah, that's just me. But no, that was by far, because I don't really remember. I remember a lot of fights, I do, but they didn't have impact. You know, it was just kind of like, you kind of knew who was gonna win. Like, this ain't gonna be nothing. Yeah, that's about all I got on that one. Doc.
Man, I have to go to the fight with the third Hokage, Orochimaru. They being attacked like all these fights are going on at the same time with the third Hokage and
Oh,
Orochimaru. You know what I'm
that
saying?
was a
And
good fight.
so you know what I'm saying? And so I enjoyed that fight because what you find out in that particular fight is we find out what makes the third Hokage so special. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
the first Hokage was just overwhelmingly super powered. I'm not gonna give all of it away, but you know, his backstory tells a lot why he's so overpowered. And then the second Hokage, who was his brother, you know what I'm saying, was not as powerful, but he had techniques, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, that were off the charts. The third Hokage was the professor, not to confuse with our professor, you know what I'm saying, because of the amount of
Hold the
ninjutsu
break,
he
by the
knew.
way.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't great. He ain't know about no battles, man. He just another boot. You know what I'm saying? He ain't didn't know. You know
Oh
what I'm
man,
saying?
hold on, man.
Yeah. You boo. There you go. There you go. You continually boo him. You know what I'm saying? So I think that fight for me, because you find out why he's the professor. And that old man on his deathbed was still giving Orochimaru the blues. And they had to go through an elaborate setup just to kill the third Hokage. I want you to know, like, and his backstory is he was the Hokage for the Hidden Leaf Village for almost 40 years. Okay. And so his abilities, his techniques, so you what he knew about the first and second, because those are the guys he trained under, especially the second. So I mean, his technique and ability. So you get to see the professor, and then when he used that death ability and he took Orochimaru's arm, he's like, I can't kill you, but I tell you what, I'm permanently disable you. If I'm gonna die, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, cause I'm thinking in his prime, he'd have killed Orochimaru. I mean, it would have been like it's hard to believe that anybody could see these guys, you know, without any overwhelming amount. Like it had to be some crazy numbers to kill these dudes. Cause like, I mean, Orochimaru, I mean, all the planning he took to set that fight up, and he killed him, but he came with a hefty penalty. Tried to take his soul. His technique. So that's why I would say that's probably my favorite fight, because you get to see somebody you normally wouldn't see fighting, a Hokage fighting at that in the beginning. So that for me was a pretty hot little fight there. You know what I'm saying? So I
Good choice.
definitely, yeah, definitely. You know, part two. Whenever we do part two, boy, we get into some of the real juicy fights, because there's a whole lot. And the second Shippuden that go hard. I can name about 10 of them. But since we in part one, we're gonna save it. But I think it's time. I think I can hear it. I think I
Oh,
can hear it.
oh,
I
you
think I
want
can.
that? Okay.
I can hear
No, no,
fisticuffs. Can you
no,
wait? Hold on.
no,
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 man. No, not yet.
no fisticuffs.
Nah,
No.
fine, man.
Oh, I think they're here. I think they're here. I think they're here.
This
I
world
think
shall
they're here.
know pain.
It's time for
What y'all do, man?
Fisticuffs!
No, it didn't.
DLC. Who do we have lined up
Did
for
I
today?
exit out? What happened?
Woo! Had to do my Ric Flair real quick. You know what I'm saying? Since we are talking about Naruto in the Naruto universe, hey, Mr. Conspiracy, is your camera gone? Because you look froze up. You buffering? Look like you buffering to me. Is he buffering?
Buffer.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
goodness. What?
Hey, dude, about to get dropped from the show.
What happened?
Hey, you was buffering, man. You trash
What?
internet, man. Yeah. You
Oh,
trash
snap!
internet, man. You been buffering, man. Your trash
Hey,
internet.
hey!
You was stuck like this. You was
I've
stuck
been
like this.
buffering. What?
That's power of the
I mean,
bathrobe.
Oh man!
you know what I'm saying? Anyway, since we in the Naruto universe, we decided to do a fisticuffs in the Naruto universe. So we took the fourth Hokage, okay, and we took Jiraiya. And that's going to be our fisticuffs today. So this is kind of an interesting one. And I do want to give a little backstory into these two, why I think this fight is interesting. Okay, for one thing, Jiraiya taught the fourth Hokage, and at a certain point in time, Jiraiya was offered the position of Hokage, and he turned it down. Okay, which opened up the bit for Minamoto, who is the fourth Hokage. Who, by the way, spoiler alert, I'm not saying it to the second episode. I'm not giving it away. But the fourth Hokage and Jiraiya. So they have a mentor and mentee relationship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where people need to understand. Now, I'm taking on Mr. Conspiracy. He's taking the fourth Hokage on this. I took Jiraiya. You know, I call dibs on the old man because he is the pervy sage. And so I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Conspiracy go ahead and hit us with his first little blow. You know, so go ahead.
I always gotta go first, homie. You always scared to go first. It's cool, man.
Listen,
I get that.
And listen, when you the host, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Next time, if you want to host the show, you can decide. But hey, you in your bathrobe, so you can make all the decisions. Right? You know what I'm saying? You running good. Right?
Okay. Right. Okay. So, Yellow Flash, fourth Hokage, Naruto's father. That man right there is.
Spoiler alert. He just gave it away. Hey. I didn't say it, y'all. Spoiler alert. He said that.
Hey, man. Spoiler alert there. Yeah. Spoiler alert. If you don't know that by now, man, I don't know what to tell you.
Way to care about your artists there.
You know, he's the, flight on sight, man. I mean, tells everything. Like, during the third grade ninja war, once the enemy, or it was actually announced that he was on the way, you flight on sight. As soon as you saw him, you were supposed to flee. That was actually the instructions given to the other soldiers from their generals when you saw him. That man is cold-blooded. He is, at the beginning of Naruto, he is basically considered basically a legend is really what he is. Almost towards, like just a legendary being at that point in the beginning of Naruto before you even really see any of his achievements or anything like that actually taking place. He is considered the fastest shinobi in shinobi history, and that's well deserved, well given. One of the main reasons because of his ability of the flying Rajin, which actually allows him to travel along with his space-time ninjutsu ability from one place to another very, very quickly. And thanks to his wife, Kushina, she actually comes from the Eddie village, and they specialize in sealing jutsu. They were known for that. Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Uzumaki
it's the Eddie village. It's the Eddie village is what it's named. It's the Eddie village. Thank you very much. Okay. So he learned all of the sealing ninjutsu that he knows from her, and he is basically a specialist at it. And he also ended up teaching Jiraiya how to actually do sealing better than what he actually could do. And he was also the creator of the the Rasengan. It is a wind style jutsu. It is very powerful. It is basically a circulation of a ball, almost like a spirit bomb in the palm of your hand, made of wind. It's super powerful. It's actually Naruto's number one signature move that he uses. And he also, a lot of people don't know this until later, but I can use it because we're doing this in this battle. He actually mastered Sage Mode. He actually could do a perfect Sage Mode without the side effects of if you could not actually absorb all of the natural energy when you were actually going into Sage Mode. He didn't have those side effects. He could actually do it perfectly based on his abilities, on his actual innate abilities. To me, it is, I don't want to say it's just a foregone conclusion. I feel like just the first blow automatically, I feel that he would win based on speed alone because Jiraiya is not known for his speed. As far as power, Jiraiya is very powerful. But from a speed standpoint, I think that Minato could actually get him from just a speed standpoint, and I think that he could actually get him with the flying Rajin just from that alone. I think that he'd be able to actually beat him. That's my first hit, round one.
Oh, round one. All right. Well, let me go ahead and counter your round one. Everything your boy knows, with the exception of sealing jutsu, Jiraiya knows. Okay, let me be very clear with you. Everything your boy knows, with the exception of his speed, which he perfected that throwing technique from the second Hokage, everything with the exception of that, Jiraiya taught him. Okay, like I said, the ceiling minus the ceiling that he learned from his wife later on, right? Remember, Jiraiya was still around. That's why I told you it's important that we understand something. Jiraiya wasn't dead when Minato was getting all these abilities and fighting. He was still alive at that point in time. And the only reason why Minato becomes the fourth Hokage is because Jiraiya turns it down, okay, to go off because Jiraiya had a different mission. All right, so he had to go do his mission covertly. That he was associated with the village, but he wasn't. But he knew everything that was going on. Because he taught Minato, okay? And so here's the thing about that. This is where experience comes into play for me, okay? Because there's one thing Minato doesn't have that Jiraiya has, and that's Jiraiya learned from the third Hokage, okay? And he was trained specifically by the third Hokage. Everything that Minato has and the greatness he has, I'm not taking it away from him because he took what Jiraiya gave him and made it his own. But what I am going to say is that old man in power, if I take he can counter your speed, right? Because he knows about it. If you were talking about those people in that war you were talking about from the third Shinobi War, the reason why they had fleet on site orders because they didn't know his ability. They knew he was fast, but they didn't actually know why he was, his ability, right? They didn't know any of that stuff. So that's why he was so elusive to them. That's why they have flee on site order. It's if I have an ability you don't know anything about or how to counter it, then of course I'm gonna flee on site. The dude, let's be clear. Okay, he is considered, okay, not Jiraiya, but Minato is considered one of the greatest Hokage that have ever been produced out of that village. But I also think that's the equivalent to me saying Tom Brady would be great without Bill Belichick. So no, it wouldn't be. And so I think that because of age and skill of Jiraiya, now I think that age and skill plays a fact in it because Jiraiya's fought some people Minato never got a chance to fight. You know what I'm saying? He's been in some battles because you got to remember the age difference too. Minato was only Hokage, I think, for about a year. Okay, he was only Hokage for 1 year. Jiraiya is way older than he is. He's been in fights. You know what I'm saying? Minato had never seen. So that's why I think this fight in round one will go to Jiraiya. Like I said, I give you the speed, the ring gun, and all that. I give you that. But Jiraiya knows all that. All those techniques and stuff, Jiraiya already knows that. So your speed alone ain't going to be enough to kill him. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel conspiracy, you got to get this to Jiraiya, man, just on his knowledge of he taught him. I mean, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin. Obi-Wan knew every weakness Anakin had because he taught him. There's no difference to me with Minato and Jiraiya. Jiraiya taught him everything he knows. Okay, and he never got to a point where he was more advanced than what Jiraiya knew because he didn't live long enough to tell that whole story. That's what I got to say about round one. I don't think you win in this fight just because you the fastest dude on the planet as far as the shinobi world go. Don't mean you're gonna beat that pervy old man with the power because he knows how to counteract all your abilities. All right, mic drop, round two, let's go. You know what I'm saying? What you got?
Well, just because he knows about that ability don't mean he can stop it. There's a lot of people who know about that ability that can't stop it, that are very powerful.
Pause real quick, just real quick.
There's no,
Who else
what?
who else knows
From the
about that
cloud,
ability?
from the cloud village, A and B. That's their names.
Okay.
Literally, A and B both know about that. One of them is the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. Okay, one of them's the Eight Tails Jinchuriki. Okay, and the other one is the Rising Kage. Okay, they both knew about it, and they tried to actually double team him during the Third Great Ninja War, and he beat them both multiple times. Actually, not just one, multiple times, and they knew about it. They actually made a plan specifically for that, and he still beat them both. And it wasn't like he tried hard. Okay, he wasn't sweating bullets when he beat the both of them. Okay, so just because Jiraiya knows about it doesn't mean he can. What is he gonna do to actually counter it? Okay, he knows about it. What is he gonna do to counter it? Hold on now, hold on. It's my turn.
Got a little sass
Okay,
in your voice. Got a little sass in your voice. Let's roll.
Okay. Jiraiya cannot do the flying Raijin. That's number one. That's well documented. Okay, he can't do that. Number two, okay, he cannot do perfect sage mode. That is also documented. You can see that in the anime. He cannot do perfect sage mode. So he loses automatically right there as far as a power boost. He cannot do perfect sage mode without two of the told sages on his shoulders. That's how he does perfect sage mode. So without those two, he can't even actually use sage mode to its highest ability. But guess who can? Minato can without any help because he can do it because it's also documented and we've actually seen him do it. He can actually do perfect sage mode immediately. He doesn't have to wait to gather it like Naruto. He can immediately do it. Okay, so that's an automatic power boost, him going into sage mode. Okay, and that's something that the first Hokage does. Okay, he's one of the very few people in the Naruto universe that can actually do sage mode, and it's very well documented that it is really powerful mode. It's almost like you going Super Saiyan. Okay, so that's beast mode. Number two, okay, he actually did master his Rasengan, okay, and he did teach his teacher how to do it that did not master it, mind you, and it's also a very powerful ability. So basically what you're saying is that, yeah, he taught him a lot of his stuff, but don't forget that Minato was also a prodigy. He was a pure genius as a kid. Okay, so the whole idea of, yeah, he taught him, that's all nice and well, but the Jiraiya that you're talking about also, okay, he did become what he became based on his experiences. Because let's be real here, when he truly became part of the legendary signing, like when they were actually, called that, he actually wasn't nearly as powerful. None of those three were, him, Orochimaru, or Tsunade. Okay, they got beat multiple times by people in Rain Village, Sound Village. They got beat by a lot of people. Matter of fact, I can't remember that dude's name with the mask who actually should have killed all three of them, and he actually let them go.
Because he scratched him. Yeah, that's when they became a signing. Yeah, because they survived.
He gave him the name. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the Jiraiya that you're discussing was much, much later. He was much, much older. Okay. After the Third Great Ninja War, he was much, much older. That's when he became the Jiraiya that you're discussing and actually talking about. So my whole thing is this, man. Okay, just because he's older, I get that. That's all good. Just because he was the teacher, I get that. That's all good. Okay, but the fact is that just because you know about his abilities does not mean you can automatically just put them to the side because you know about his abilities or you know how to do some of those abilities. But the fact of the matter is that even if you do, you still can't do it as good as him, nowhere close as good as him. And that's just the bottom line. So what else you gonna do? What you gonna do? Your little summoners are called the Toll Sage. The same thing Minato can actually do because he has the contract with him as well. And because he actually does the seal better than you, he could probably call a higher Toll Sage than you can as well because they have a tier to that.
Well, hold on.
There's a tier. There is a tier to that.
Yeah. So let's be clear. Jiraiya has met with the one who set the prophecy. You know what I'm saying? Who set him down that path. You know what I'm saying? So let's be clear about something. Now, you brought up the third, Hokage, and the eight-tails. Let me tell you why that's a garbage comparison, okay? Because even though they saw what was going on, and you were like, they couldn't react to it, they didn't know about his sealing ability. They didn't know about a lot of this stuff because he caught him off guard. I'm going to tell you this right now. You're not going to be able to play the tricks. Now, you might have the ability, but what I'm telling you is when it comes to things like this, we all have patterns and things like that. It's no difference than somebody who taught you how to do something. Yes, you may at some point become better. That doesn't necessarily mean you can beat them because you have certain habits and patterns that you have when you fight. We all have them on our daily lives. And that's what I'm telling you. Everything you're bringing up, I'm not disagreeing that Minato is not prodigy and things like that. But this is where I know he knows his weaknesses. All the things that he taught him, he's the one who's been training him his whole life. You don't think he knows about his ceiling? You don't think he knows about all that stuff that you're talking about? But if you tack Jiraiya's experience on top of that, you don't think he'll have a countermeasure for his protege, the one he taught and trained, who he learned everything from? Now, I'm not saying he didn't perfect some of the things that Jiraiya did. I'm not taking anything away from that. But you gotta admit that the old man know all his weaknesses. None of the people Minamoto had fought up to that point knew his weakness. Not even Obito knew everything he was capable of. And that's why Obito ended up losing to him. There's a difference between somebody realizing what your ability is versus actually knowing what your ability is and all the weaknesses associated with it. Jiraiya knows everything about the fourth Hokage. Okay, everything. Because like I said, he was still alive at this point in time. Does the fourth Hokage know everything that Jiraiya can do in a fight? No, because he wasn't alive and he was being trained by him. So yeah, I give you the points of this, his strength, his speed. I give you all that. But you're talking to the one person on the planet who knows every weakness Minamoto has. The one person who they asked to be Hokage 3 times, and he turned them down 3 times so he could do more stuff for the village outside of the village. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, you know, a mentor and a mentee. I mean, there's a lot of space there, and I'm not taking anything away from the fourth because he's a bad dude. Like let's be clear about that. When you get flee on sight orders, you're a bad man in a war. Okay, I'm just simply saying the things you're talking about, they won't matter to Jiraiya. Jiraiya, like I already know you. I've been training with you all the way up to this point in time. You think he got there by himself? And that's what I'm telling you. Fighting Jiraiya is not different than fighting Pain, the third Raikage, and like you're talking about somebody who intimately knows every aspect of your life, how your foot moves when you walk, how long does it take you to cast your jutsu and things like that. So that's why I tell you, yes, you have the speed, yes, you have these things, but knowledge is a powerful thing. And if you know the weaknesses to all the jutsu he got, because he's the one who trained him, that's where I say I get the W. Hold on, real quick.
No.
I'm not finished. I let you talk. You wanted to interject. You know what I'm saying? All I'm simply saying is, don't discount your age and experience over, especially somebody you train, that they're just gonna automatically get the upper hand because they have abilities that might even be a little bit better than yours. That's all I'm getting at. Don't discount it. You act like it's gonna be a clinch. He gonna just boom, 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 and game's over. It's not gonna be that easy of a fight. When somebody knows you, ask a boxer who has to fight his training partner in a fight. Somebody who knows all you. You think that's an easy fight? And let me ask one question, and it's not to you, Mr. Pierce. Let me ask the professor.
Okay.
Professor, do you think it's harder for you to fight somebody you've trained your whole life versus somebody who doesn't know all your abilities? They don't know all your stuff. It doesn't matter about your abilities at that point in time. But the person who trained you, they have an advantage. Would you agree? Yes or no to that? To a
Yes, I'd
degree.
agree to that. Yeah, I'd agree to that.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not taking anything away from Mr. Conspiracy's points because they're valid points. Okay? But the thing that's killing me is you discounting the experience Jiraiya has with training him and all the other fights he's been in that Minamoto hasn't been in. So that's the only thing I'm trying to say. Now, I'm gonna let you go, but I just got one question before.
I'm waiting.
No. Just real quick, right? With time and everything, you got to go into your round 2. I did my round 2. So shouldn't the audience be deciding? Do we got enough time to you just be going back and forth?
I ain't gonna take long.
Okay.
I ain't gonna take long. Okay, I ain't gonna take long. Okay.
Because I know you hate losing. So
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Fact of the matter is this, man. Okay, like you keep bringing up, all that time that they trained together. First of all, Jiraiya only traded him for a couple of years. They wasn't together for that long, training for a whole lot of time. He only traded him for a few years. That's number one. Okay. Number two is the fact that Jiraiya actually left the village like literally right after they got the whole signing, deadlock thing, and that's when he became the spy of the village. That's when he became a spy. So he was barely in the village during Minato's prime of all of his achievements. That dude was rarely in the village. He would come back here and there just to see him for like a day, and then he would leave. So he wasn't even there for all the battles, any of the battles that Minato actually took part in. So he didn't actually see him in actual combat in his prime or any of that because he was not there. So for you to say that just because he had trained him for a couple of years means absolutely nothing. That you don't know this dude inside and out just because you trained with him for a few years, then he taught you a little bit of something. Okay,
Did you just
that
say a
doesn't.
little bit of something? Did you say a little bit of something? Let me.
Minato taught. No, hold on, hold
No,
on, hold on,
no,
hold
no.
on.
I want to interject one point. I'm gonna let you get back to it. You said a little bit of something. Okay,
Yeah,
listen. He wouldn't have the Sage contract if it wasn't for Dry. He wouldn't be able to do the Senju something if it wasn't for Dry. You can't say somebody just trained you for a couple of years like it was some days. Let's be clear about something. Years is different than somebody that trained for days or months. Okay, there's a big difference between that. So go ahead, go to your point.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. He showed him a few things. Okay. He showed him a few things. Okay. He showed him a few things, brother. Okay.
Well,
But
back
let's
a
be
little bit.
okay. But here's the reality, man. Okay. He was the master and the student surpassed him. It's just that simple. The student surpassed him, man. And it's just the fact that he was not around when this dude created his legacy. Dry was not even around during that time when Minato created his legacy. So for you to say that he knows all this, he knows all of his weaknesses and stuff like that, what weaknesses does he know exactly? Please tell me what his weaknesses are besides his family, which is what Obito actually was the only reason why he even got to the point that he got to was because his family was his only weakness. So what weaknesses was there to exploit besides that?
Is that? Are you letting me talk now? You
Yeah,
said, are
hey,
you?
man, go ahead.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what, man?
yeah.
I'm ready for the audience, man, to decide this. Okay, I'm ready for the audience. Matter of fact,
I,
you know what I'm saying? The
I,
professor, Pooh Bird, what y'all think, man?
I want DLC to finish up. Go ahead and speak your last point.
listen, the point I was wanting to make, since somebody's trying to make the expectation this much lower, like it was in a small amount of time. Listen, he trained him for more than a couple years. Okay, he trained him for more than a couple years. Okay, every ninjutsu has a weakness. Okay, now you're saying, now I can make the same statement you made, that Menonito wasn't around when Jiraiya did all his great things, so he don't know the extent of his power either. You know, if we want to make the what if statement about that, you don't know. Menonito don't know the extent of Jiraiya's power, but I'm more happy to know that Jiraiya trained him, and I think you're missing that. There's certain habits you have when you're trained. Okay, there are things we go back to. He's not just some dude on the street you're gonna run up to and be able to amaze and be like, oh, I caught you off guard in a serious battle. He knows you got to throw these things to do this technique. He knows your speed level. He knows how to anticipate all of that stuff. Because again, literally, he learned from the third Hokage, who learned from the second Hokage, who learned from the first Hokage. You know what I'm saying? He literally is a walking thing of knowledge. Okay. And I'm gonna say this statement. Okay. Menonito wouldn't have came close to beating Pain like Jiraiya did. Okay. Menonito with him, because here's the thing, and I'm gonna get bold. I'm gonna get bold with my last point, and I'm gonna say that because Jiraiya's knowledge and his experience played a big part in getting close to Pain, and that knowledge that he was able to give Naruto, Menonito wouldn't have had that opportunity. Okay, there's some things that you can't replace with time. I'm sorry, I don't care how good you are as an athlete and stuff like that. That's why there's certain people you can't replace at businesses. Once that knowledge is gone, it's gone, right? G will tell you, you know what I'm saying? The professor will tell you there are certain people, certain doctors you're not going to be able to replace because their knowledge base is just too off the chart. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. Let's let the audience decide.
No,
That's all. I'm no. Hold on. We can't keep going back and forth.
no. I was
Okay.
going to say
So
one thing. You mind if I say one thing? One thing.
You already had, no.
Let's
You
No,
already
I
let's
want to
had
no
hear
no.
it.
no.
I want to
It is
hear it.
No.
I
important.
want to hear
Less
it.
than
Bad
30
buddy.
seconds.
Bad.
Less than 30
Go ahead.
seconds. Less than 30 seconds. Okay. So
Bad.
Minato is known
Go.
for having a high battle prowess, and the reason why is because if you notice the fight with Obito, he was the only one that actually countered his special eye ability that no one else has. Everyone has seen it. He was the only one that actually countered and actually beat that, and it was the first time he had ever seen it, ever, and he was able to counter that in that heat of the battle moment. Okay, but that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm saying. Y'all two, what's going
Okay.
on?
And if
Woo.
yeah, then Dry may have been able to counter it too. First time he saw it. But we'll never know, right? So since we throwing the what ifs out there. Anyway, go ahead. What was you saying?
What if he?
Go ahead. We're done. You see how heated it gets sometimes? Go ahead, audience. Put a 1 in the air for Jiraiya. Put a 0 for Menonito, because that's what it is, a 0. Anyway, all right.
Professor
What we
Cooper,
got?
what y'all think? I want to know what y'all got to say.
Man,
Yeah, I'm a
I
man
think
too.
both of you guys had some excellent points. I think Mr. Conspiracy, you were a little bit more detailed in your argument. Although DOC had excellent points, as far as the mentor mentee, his Jiraiya's power level as he was able to get older, be more experienced, go through more battles. Of course, he would know Minato's abilities. He wouldn't be surprised by anything. And that's not guaranteed that he would be able to counter them, but he would know, possibly come up with a plan. They both have the Sage mode. Minato's is better. Um, so it's a toss up for me. I come down as a tie. I know that's not nothing definitive, but I come as a tie.
No,
I
no,
couldn't I
Professor.
couldn't pick a winner.
I'm gonna jump on in, Professor. You are absolutely right in your conclusion there. Both made hell of a. This was a good fight, by the way. You two.
Yeah,
Y'all had me thinking the whole time. Like y'all made hella points. But I agree with the professor. Y'all did so well. Even I was going back and forth the whole time. I just came was like, you know what? Um, let's just start with Doc with experience and age. I agree with you. Like you said, I mean, with anything in life, experience is going to count. You know what I'm saying? Because you've seen it all, you've experienced it all, so you'll have a little bit more edge. You're thinking outside the box is better, right? Because you've got these experiences, certain fights and how things will go. Only thing is though, yeah, you have the knowledge and experience. However, I mean, your age is going to play a part in that because now you're not as polished as you were in your prime. And that's the only thing I can see on his downfall there. Conspiracy, I agree with you know, with your assessments. With Minna, he's in his prime. Of course, yeah. He was a prodigy. And that's the thing though with skills. Yeah, you got trained by your master, but at some point your master is training you to do what? To surpass you. I mean, that's the whole point. Even when it's surpassing, yeah, he he made the argument that Doc, that with muscle memory you practicing and all that and stuff, but when you become a master you polish those things as well too, so we got to keep that in mind. So yeah, you might be doing some of the same things most, but you also improve on those things, just like a basketball player. you know Allen Iverson, we all knew his cross-up steps, but he kept improving it just so people that you can't get used to those, you wouldn't be able to trick people as much. But yeah, that whole, Jesus Christ, I don't know. I don't know who'd win. This has got to be up to the audience. Y'all made hella good points, bro. Y'all had me stumped. Yeah.
yeah. That was
me and
probably
conspiracy.
that's probably one of the best fisticuffs
Yeah, guys.
that we've had.
Yeah.
That was excellent. But I have a question. It's probably going to extend this. Before towards Mr. Conspiracy, but DOC, I want you to answer as well. So, Mr. Conspiracy, do you think Minato could have beaten Pain?
Yes, I think he could have.
And I'm saying, and
Yeah.
why?
For the simple fact of one of Payne's biggest streams was that he was, separated into six, right? And then of course, you have to take out all six of them. You can't just leave them all running around. Well, the thing with Minato's abilities is that with his sealing abilities and with his flying Rajan, he can actually put his seal mark on each puppet, on each pain, and he's quick enough to actually attack them or actually set up an actual seal to trap them so he can actually hit them simultaneously with his abilities, because he still knew the actual cloning jutsu as well, and he'd be able to actually take them out. And we've seen that in the pain art. The Rasengan actually is strong enough to take out one of the one of the puppet bodies, right? And I think that he's fast enough that he'd be able to actually take them out before I forgot which Pain had the reincarnation ability, but taking him out first, honestly, he'd be able to actually do that, and then he couldn't bring any of the other Pain's back at that point, right? And so for Minato's abilities, he doesn't really have to use a lot of ninjutsu that would be absorbed. The only thing that would technically he would use that could be absorbed is the Rasengan to actually, win that battle that he would actually need. But for me, his abilities as a whole really counteracts what Pain actually does, and also he is the second to highest sensory after I would say the first Hokage as far as a sensory ninja, and so to actually understand what is happening as far as those being puppets, not real bodies, for his sensory ability, I think that would really come into play because you got to remember that there is a string of chakra that is connected to each puppet for Pain or Naruto to actually control them, almost like like a Wi-Fi satellite Wi-Fi, right? He has to actually send out chakras just to those puppets for him to control them. Well, being a sensory shinobi of that high caliber, there is a good chance that he could actually see that something was actually controlling them and they were not actually real. So at that point, I think that he would change up his battle plans at that moment, like his actual strategy. I think that if the fight lasted, it doesn't have to last long, but I think enough time. I think that he would actually figure out what needs to be done. I think that he could easily do it.
I got
Okay.
one thing to say to that would be you're taking one thing off the table that you didn't talk about. That's a problem for everybody who's fighting him. The Rinnegan, because the Rinnegan's abilities. Okay, now it was different when he was fighting Naruto. When Pain was fighting Naruto, he was trying to capture Naruto. He wasn't trying to kill him, But that Rinnegan's abilities make it make him a very difficult appointment. I can't 100% tell you that Menonito, even with all the abilities he has, with that dude having that Rinnegan, I can't guarantee you're going to win that battle. That's what I would say to that. Because you talked about everything else, and I agree, he has the ability, but that Rinnegan, because it's a Genkai Dojutsu or whatever you call that, because those eyes, man, those abilities, those eyes give you. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I agree with your points, but that Rinnegan, like you can't, first, I mean, because Jiraiya, the first time the Rinnegan had even been encountered was by Jiraiya for Pain. When he saw his eyes and he realized what he could become, and that's why he kind of helped train Pain a little bit as well because of those eyes. But I'm gonna throw that out there. Go ahead, Professor. You're gonna ask the question. So
No, I was gonna take it to you, DOCs. I felt like you felt like that Menonito couldn't beat him. I just kind of wanted you to explain why, and you just kind of went ahead and did that.
But yeah, I just think it's because they're with the Rinnegan. I think because Jiraiya knew about the eyes, he had a slight advantage. But was that enough with his abilities to get him over the hump? No, because we keep in mind the only reason why Naruto won that fight is because those toads gave Naruto the clues to be able to win that fight. It took Jiraiya, two toads, and a whole bunch of time to figure out what each body did, and so I'm not saying Menonito couldn't figure it out, but there's a lot of things with Pain and those abilities, like on the fly. Jiraiya had help. You know what I mean? To help him fight that battle, so he wasn't alone. Now, if Menonito went in there, if he went in there with the toads, does that increase his odds? Sure, it does. But is he gonna know the pull to bring them in since he has a perfect sage mode? Probably not, right? So like I said, there's variations to this on who would, I don't think he'd win. I think he'd give him a close run for his money, but not knowing his abilities makes it really difficult, especially if you don't know the abilities of a Rinnegan. If you don't know what all those, I mean, that's a really hard fight. It was hard for Jiraiya. Hell, I think even Itachi would have a problem fighting Pain. He's got the Mangekyou Sharingan. I still think it's just because of the bodies, the Rinnegan. I mean, he's got a lot of things going on.
I
So
say
I'll say that.
it's too many variables. Way too many
There's a lot of
variables
variables with that fight. Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
but yeah,
again,
that was all the questions I had. So we can finish up fisticuffs now.
Well,
well,
so let me say this. So here's the weakness of Pain, right, with the Rinnegan, because he didn't have the Sharingan, which is the Genjutsu abilities. Here's the actual weakness of him: is that each one of his puppets can only use one of the abilities. They were spread out among 6. They can only use one each. So once they use that ability, and with the Sage mode, that's perfect Sage mode, he can take an actual puppet down with literally one hit, like with the including of the Rasengan. I think that he wouldn't have to actually wait for them to all use an ability for him to actually go ahead. If he's trying to actually kill Pain, actually win that fight, I don't think he would just sit back and just wait for them to start using a whole bunch of jutsu just to see which one of them can actually do what they can do.
But
Just
don't
my opinion.
most of those? Well, I don't know my recollection with them, but don't they feel each other out first because they don't know what they can do? And don't they have to be more? If I remember all their fights, not know everybody just tries to. Well, unless you just bad and evil trying to kill out somebody, but it's they're more measured, right? Because being ninjas, you don't know what that actual person's ability is, right? So you have to fill them out first because you jumping in blindly. I mean, that's life and death off the bat. That's just what I'm thinking.
Well, it was the same thing like when he fought Obito for the first time, like as Toby, right? Like he had no idea what his abilities were, but he had no choice because of the situation of the hidden leaf. So he, instead of coming up with an actual strategy, he came up with a strategy on the fly as they were actually fighting head to head.
Man, like I said, it's a lot of variables with Pain and the Rinnegan and the abilities, because you got to remember, to even unlock a Rinnegan, you have to have the Byakugan and the Sharingan to even awaken the Rinnegan. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the 3 dojutsu. So I mean, it has a lot of abilities, and so that's why I say that battle is hard for variables. And I say that battle's hard for anybody in variables, because at least when Benedito fought Obito, it was a one-on-one fight. You know what I mean? He could concentrate on one. But when you fighting all of them, I mean, Naruto had to have create a bunch of diversions, smoke screens. He had to use a whole bunch of ninjutsu to keep all of them occupied. And in a one-on-one fight, now that's why I said, if Benedito called the Toads in to help, because that's what Jiraiya had to do. They had to fight for him in a one-on-one fight like nobody's beating Pain. I'm sorry, unless you're the first Hokage or something, or Madara Uchiha or something like that. I mean, his power. You fighting 6 people at the same time. It ain't an easy fight for nobody. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? Audience, put your ones up, your zeros up. Whoever let us know who you think won this bad boy, man. Because we definitely went over getting into fisticuffs. Some days we get crazy. Obviously, me and Conspiracy got blood. We always got issues with each other. So this is how stuff gets sometimes. So, but with that said, man, we got to move on, man. We've been here going crazy. So we got to get into what's hot, what's not, man.
They leave them
So
off on a high note.
hey, look, you don't get no better than what we just put out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the professor on his what hot and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
Thankfully, I don't have a what's not. What I've been looking at recently is all been turned out to be pretty good. My what's hot is going to be anime, a playthrough of a certain dude's VR MMO life. I'm gonna say it is not great. It is not going to be a classic anime, but I really enjoy it. It's about this. He's just a normal, regular dude playing a video game. He just wants to be left alone. He just, it's this big world. Tens of thousands of people are playing the game, but he just wants to be left alone. So he chooses a character that nobody's going to like, nobody's going to want to team up with. He chooses abilities that seem to be lame and weak, so nobody's going to bother him. So he can just play this game by himself. And the abilities he chooses, they turn out to be really good in combination with one another. And so he's the type of guy, he's a real gamer. And so he tries his best to level up and to work on his skills, work on his abilities. And he really becomes a really powerful player. He's probably one of the most powerful players in the game. And so eventually he gets outed. He's making potions, he's doing things, he's making weapons, and he ends up becoming really powerful. And it's funny. It's a really good story. I like how kind of the evidence they took to tell it. And so again, it ain't great. It's not going to be a classic, but I think it's definitely worth watching if you have time. So it's just anime that I'm really enjoying right now.
Yeah.
Is that on Crunchyroll? Hulu?
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. Yeah,
I like it. I'll agree with Professor. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, Pooh Bear, since you talking, you up. What's your what's hot, what's not?
You got 2 this time. Otherwise, I'm gonna read it though. So Well, I'm not gonna say a hot. It's gonna be a mid. Like I said,
Okay.
I'm gonna start doing mids too. The professor, you might want to check this one out. It's called Ron Kamanashi's Forbidden Deductions. So this is not like this is kind of a little different for me when watching. It's about this it starts off with this detective. I think he's like lower end detective, I think in Japan, and there's been this really hard case they've been trying to figure out. And in their world, they actually send you to like this big I guess you kind of say like you know how Harry Potter got the whole Hogwarts thing. So they have a place where
Mm-hmm.
they train dedicated detectives. Like it's hardcore. Well, I guess once every 100 lifetime whatever. So this guy, this actual prodigy came for. He could solve any crime. That's just how good he was. He just thought outside the box. Um, the problem is he had got in trouble, and they forbade him to do any detective work, period, for life. If he did, his sentence was death. And I'm like, what the hell? He's solving crimes, but now he can't be a detective no more. Anyway, so he gets hooked up with this guy, and dude's telling him like, man, I can't do that stuff anymore. He's like, I really need your help. So he came up with a plan. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna help you figure out the crimes. That way I don't get in trouble. So they go figure out the dude's crime, and at the end, when they figure it out, the dude, I don't know, I guess he has these hypnotic powers or whatever. Especially if somebody kills someone, he'll tell the murderer, "Hey, go kill yourself. You're a low piece of trash," and they go do it. And the dude was like, "Wait a minute, what are you doing?" So he went and stopped. I think it was a dude or I can't remember. He stopped him from trying to kill. So he goes into like this trance himself. He don't even know what he's doing. Then he came out. He was like, "Oh my God, did I do it again?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "That's the reason why they forbade. That was his one bad thing. Because I guess it was a tragedy. He killed a lot of people because I guess he figured out these crimes. I guess he was the judge, jury, and execution, and you can't do that. So yeah, Professor, I think you'll like that. Check that one out. That's a mid for me. And what's not is the 100 girlfriends who really really love you. Yeah. This guy, he's a loser. I'm gonna make this real sweet, short, simple.
Obviously.
He's a loser. But then he runs into this god or whatever, says, "Hey man, I'm gonna get you love." He's like, "Yay, love!" But the god messed up, so he's like, "Oh, my bad. I'm gonna make 100 girls fall in love with you. However, you gotta reciprocate their love. If you don't, they gonna kill themselves." I was like, "What?" So he started off with two girlfriends. Like basically a player pimp, but I was like, for real, he got to follow 100, and if you don't, they go. I said trash, whatever. So yeah, that's my hot one.
Got it. Is that on Crunchyroll as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might finish it just because it's stupid. Yeah.
Don't do it. Reconsider literature. Okay.
Hey, I finished
Conspiracy, what you
Vending
got?
Machine, so
Man, unfortunately, I don't have a what's hot and what's not. Man, it's been a long week for me. I'm operating a little bit of sleep right now. So,
We can tell you in your bathrobe. All right, moving on. All right. You're going to leave it to me to close. I got you. All right. So, I actually was reading two manga that are really good. And I've got a what's not that's definitely in the category as well. So I've been looking at make sure I'm saying this right, this name correctly. I mean, the other world doesn't stand a chance against the power of instant death. You ever heard of that?
Nope.
Okay. So what it's about is, I mean, it's not your typical isekai, okay? Uh, and so this guy get isekai, and basically his whole class gets isekai with him, okay? And so the goddess gives them all powers and stuff like that. Everybody gets abilities and stuff like that. Well, everybody looks and she's like, look, you guys, once they get transported, she's like, look, you got to become a sage. You're a sage candidate. If you don't become a sage, then I'm going to kill you. And one dude was like, what? I ain't listening to you. And then she snapped the fingers and his head blew off. And everybody was like, oh, okay, well, you're for real. Well, I guess we better become sage candidates then. And she literally is they're on a bus and she is telling them, like, hey, you got to become sage candidates. Don't interrupt me. Don't, get to tripping with me. I will kill you. I'm just telling you. Now, there are monsters coming to this bus. You better figure out a way to live. I gave you power. Okay. And keep it moving, basically. And so what him and a girl. The girl doesn't have any abilities and he doesn't get any abilities. But what nobody knew was this guy had an ability even before he got isekai. And basically, if he thinks about you or he speaks your name, then you die. Okay. If you try to use magic, he has an ability like he can detect if you got killing intent towards him. So these people try to use all this magic on him. He can literally kill your magic, kill you. I don't care if you use a clone body and you try to have your clone fight. Your clone is connected to you. You gonna die. You know what I'm saying? His ability is like he's super OP, and it's just about him. They're trying to figure out a way home, and what they didn't know was people who took the goddess's power, it makes you corrupt. It corrupts your soul. So the more you use it, the crazier you start to get. You start to get power hungry. And so his classmates end up start trying to kill him. He ain't trying. He's just trying. Him and the girl are just trying to live. She don't have no power. And it's about them trying to get home. But everybody make the mistake of trying to cross him. And they always end up dying. Like he'd be like, and the girl would be like, well, why don't you kill him? He's like, I'm not judged during execution. And he said, I only kill people who want to kill me. Ma'am, I'm not going to kill somebody because they said something crazy to me. He said, that's the reason why I didn't use this stuff in the regular world, because I'd be murdering a bunch of people. So I actually enjoy it. So it's a manga. Now, my what's not, I'm still reading it, but I'm not happy with it, is my daughter is the final boss. Y'all ever heard of that?
Nope.
It's a manga. Yeah, it's a manga. So basically in the first chapter, it basically is like you see his daughter is basically the final boss, and the world is getting ready to end. And he's come to this cave to try and fight her or save her. And these people show up, and they're like, "Are you gonna save your daughter, or are you gonna help us kill her because the world going to end?" He was like, "I was a crappy parent, and I'm gonna fight for my daughter." You know what I'm saying? So he ends up dying, and he goes back in time 20 years, and he's trying to prevent this from happening, but the reason why it's a what's not for me, this is why you need to be a good parent from the beginning. Okay? So your kids don't end up monsters. And he was sucked as a human being. Okay? He sucked. So that's why you get my what's not. Okay? Because he was a crappy parent and all these other things had to take place. So that's my what's not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, like I said, I've been reading it. I'm just not happy with the parenting situation. So, oh, and if you get a chance, read "I'm Just Immortal" if you get bored. It's funny.
What's that about?
I'm just an immortal.
Mm-hmm.
I got
It's just
bored with
about
it.
yeah. Like I
What
said,
was it about?
it's just about this dude. He's been around since the beginning of time. I mean, basically, he's one human who surpassed God level, and he been around for 230 million years, and it's just about him trying to live his life, and stuff keeps happening. He's powerful, like he's basically a god. So yeah, that's what I got for y'all. My what's hot, what's not, man. I think. Oh, and audience, I need you to like, subscribe, comment, repost on all your social media. Please do it. I don't know, somewhere there's a button, you'll see it floating around. Click it so you can stay up to date with everything we got going on. I want to throw that out there. Mr. Conspiracy, it's time for you to take us out of here, my brother.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is, ain't it?
It is about that time, sir. You know what
So,
I'm saying? The show been going for a minute. We appreciate y'all stopping by for the Midwest Anime Show. My host, Christopher Robbins, the professor, Mr. Conspiracy. May you guys have a great weekend. We're going to be absent for a week. Don't miss out too much. You know, holidays is coming up for us too. So have a good time. If you got anything else to say. I love our outro beat too. I love our outro beat.
Oh man. Naruto Part 2, baby, coming next. Just not next week.
Ship it in.
Yeah, you hot show, baby.
Y'all watch that trailer? Yeah, Netflix.
Bam, baby. Mr. Conspiracy. We out.